Well, good afternoon, good morning, no matter what time of day it is for you. I want to thank you for joining us on this week's episode of the CVC Home Service Success Network. My name's Jerry Eisenhower, if you've never met me before, and along with me today is Cheryl Eisenhower, and we're both with CVC Success Group. And today's topic is one that Cheryl deals with all the time, every single day. Every time I'm in her office, she's doing an interview with other people. That's what she does every day, doing recruiting and hiring for a lot of companies in the chimney industry. And she's very, very good at it. She's got the background to do it, she's got the training to do it, and very much skilled in this area. So I want to thank you for joining us today for the hiring crisis, how to find great people for your team. Because you know what, folks? This is a big, big frustration for a lot of people. And today's topic, it impacts every home service company in America. Finding, hiring, and keeping great people, no matter what industry you're in. Could be in chimney, could be HVAC, plumbing, electrical, roofing, could be a painting contractor, could be a pressure washer, any number of other things in the home service industry. And this is what people are always saying. I just can't find good people anymore. Well, let's challenge that statement a little bit today because Cheryl and I both believe, because she does find them, that great people still exist out there. The question isn't if they're out there. The question is just what are you doing to attract them? And that's what we're going to talk about today. And we're going to talk about how do you build a recruiting system instead of simply filling openings. So, Cheryl, go over to you for a minute. What's your thoughts on this recruiting challenge that everybody seems to be going through that occupies a lot of my calls every single day? What's your thoughts on this? What's your input?
A lot of the input is that sometimes it's just their resumes are just not coming in. The hiring pool is lower. But that's when you have to work harder at it. There's still good people out there. I find good ones every day. I find some that are not quite as good every day. But the thing about it is, I think the biggest problem is people want to hire when they're desperate and they don't continue looking. I find more people for a particular companies when they're not looking for them because that's when the good people are out there. During times of desperation, all you tend to find is every guy that's or lady that's desperate. So desperation brings on desperation. But in the calmer parts of the year, usually when a company does is not desperate for a company, it's when you can really find the cream of the crop. And then there comes the dilemma. Do you bring them in and work with them and maybe call out someone in the bottom that's not working for you quite so well? That's where the dilemmas come in for me.
And we've talked about that before. And one of the things that we keep telling people, and we keep saying it, we say it over and over, is never stop recruiting. Always be recruiting, always looking for great people. Because here's the whole thing, and I've heard people tell me this, if I come across the right guy or the right gal, I may just create a position for them. But here's the other thing. A lot of times we have B and C level players. We talked about that last week that need to be replaced, and you got to make that. I had one client this week, and that was part of our discussion. That particular client had some employees, and it was time for them to find a new place for employment. And I told the person, this is part of your leadership. You've got to replace these B and C level players if you're going to have a rock star team. It really is. But here's the key thing. Recruiting isn't just an HR, human resources function. It's a marketing function, and so many companies, they market aggressively for customers, but they do very little to market your company as a great place to work. You're limiting your growth. When I look at their social media posts, yeah, they're promoting their products, their services, and everything else. But you got to market your company as a great place to build a career. And the other thing is, and run this through your mind, why should somebody come to work for you? What makes you so special? You got to toot your horn just a little bit because you're competing against so many businesses in your marketplace every single day, and you're all after the same A-level players. But you got to get serious on the marketing if you're going to be able to go after them and succeed. So, Cheryl, back to you. Your thoughts on this moving further.
Marketing is extremely important. Actually, I mean, on Indeed, people are just looking at the ads, but we're starting to see more with quite a few of my clients. We're getting better and more applicants off of their Facebook page. It's that, but you've got to put it on more than once a week, and you've got to put something that draws people. It's not just throwing a hook out there anymore and catching a guy. You have got to actually put it out there where people can see it. The one I just interviewed right before we came over here came out of came off Facebook, and great candidate. But because a lot of people just aren't going on Indeed, they're not going to set up an account unless they're basically a lot of times desperate for a job, or they're a 12-month hunter, which means they're always looking for a new job. But the
That's it.
thing, I mean, they look. People do that. They look, and 50 Cent will move them up to a new position.
Yeah. So, people, you know, they're researching employers. If prospective employees are looking at you and they're looking at what you do, they're going to actually read your reviews. They're going to visit your website. They're going to watch your videos. They're going to check your social media before ever submitting that application. It's like one of the places that we've seen this drawing interest is when the business owner, and even better, when some of their employees are doing videos and explaining why this company is a great place for you to come to be a part of the team, to learn a skill. You got to let people know. Yeah, it'd be great to find trained techs ready to move in, but a lot of times you're going to have to train them. And if you're going to train them, you got to have the right culture. We can teach those skills, but teaching that culture, it's really a problem. And you got to be aware of that. You know, you've got to invest in your training, your leadership, communication, and what are you showing for your employee appreciation that attracts these stronger candidates? You got to be able to say it out there. So, Cheryl, back to you.
I just want to say, I actually interviewed one the other day. The thing that impressed him the most is the company had shown a group of their employees. They were having, I don't know if it was he said a party, so I assumed it was at Christmas or something. He said, I've never been in a company that appreciated us like that. We always went to a restaurant, we did something like that. But to get together as a group, not as an employee, but as a group of people, bringing our families, he said, that's what I want to be in. And so, yeah, you have to market what you've got to sell, but you also have to market what your people do. And I think by far that the employees making the ad or the video has showed more importance a lot of times than the owner making the video, because they know he's selling the company. The employee usually is just telling how great it was working there.
And Cheryl, one of the things I do, I do a lot of SWOT meetings, SWOT, where we call all the people in the company in, and we go over the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities, and the threats for the company. And one of the things I found out is the people that are in these meetings, the employees, they really love this because it gives them an opportunity to offer their input into it. I often tell people, hey, this is where we came together to listen to you today. So promoting these opportunities of the communication and showing the culture of the company, I feel is vastly important. But here's what happens, Cheryl, and you get these calls all the time. somebody just quit. I got to have somebody now. Somebody got hurt. We got to have somebody now. Well, this is what you call reactive recruiting. And you can't just do that. Just like you can't just decide to market because your leads are down. Hey, we got to build a marketing program. It doesn't happen. What you got to do is you got to recruit continuously. Make sure the community knows who you are. And you build relationships. You build them with trade schools, the veterans community, community colleges, anything else. And people you meet every week, every day, you meet people. So you want to make sure that you're getting the word out and people know that you're available. And you've also got to have a way to apply on your company website. And that page needs to have a video talking about the company. What do you offer? Again, you've got to toot your own horn. What makes you special? I can still remember one of the seminars I went to this day, all the way back in 1987, folks. That's almost 40 years ago. And there was a man, his name was Paul Rodillo speaking. And I think I've talked about this before. Spoke with this tremendous booming voice. And the title of his seminar is, Would You Work for You? Would you work for you? So what you got to do is examine this. What does your company bring to the table? But again, always be recruiting. Never stop recruiting. Build up your pipeline. So Cheryl, your turn again.
That's the most important thing. The bad part is, like you say, most people do not recruit until they're desperate. And then you're going to get the desperate people out there. And very, very, very seldom do those work out for a lengthy period of time. But yeah, there's so many places nowadays that you can recruit. We used to carry business cards. We never hunted anyone. But if we saw a waiter or waitress that was just doing just a great job, we would just give them a card and tell them if they had a friend that worked like they did, we'd love to talk to them. And that, a lot of times, people think it's only something that Cheryl can do. I cannot do all of your media and stuff. I can, but I don't. There's other ways that it's better if you do it where they see yourself. But get something professional done once in a while where it shows the best side of you. But a lot of times, anything's better than nothing. But recruit, and don't just recruit when you're desperate. I can't say that enough. I think I could just sit here and repeat that over and over because that's exactly where the company starts faltering, is when they're not recruiting all the time and they miss the good people and end up just hiring someone that's breathing. And when I get a client call and say, I need someone breathing, it scares me to death.
I understand completely. But, like I said, wouldn't it be really great if you could hire somebody that comes to you and they're fully trained? Cheryl, one of our clients just hired an individual like that with many years of experience starting next week. But don't just limit yourself to people that are experienced in the industry. Be looking for people with the right character, the right mindset, and be prepared to teach the skills. Have a training program to put them through, to fast track them through what they need to do. We've got great online training that you can bring right in the house to use immediately with our virtual online academy. Teach the skills. Look for people that have worked in construction, mechanics, roofers, military veterans, warehouse employees, teachers. A lot of these want to get out. They're tired of that, of the teaching industry. They want to get into something else. Managers, hospitality professionals, firefighters. Many firefighters retire at a young enough age that they can make you good employees. And even to your office staff, customer service professionals. Have your eyes open to the potential that could walk in your door or apply to you tomorrow. So your turn again, Cheryl.
the main thing I want to say to people is don't pick one thing and just recruit there, because then you've got to deal with the 10% of people that might be out there looking that's not where you're searching. So look for the quality people. Yes, right now there's a lot of people that are, like you say, just they're not quality people, and they're out there looking for a reason. Does it take time? Yes, it does. Does it take persistence? Yes, it does. There's some days, Jerry will tell you, some days I don't get anyone that moves past here. But on other days, when you're having a good day, you find several and you get them put out there. The gentleman he's talking about, I he was not that old of a gentleman. He had just done what he was doing all his life, and very meticulous at it, knowledgeable. The thing about it, he's not an old man, but he's not 25 either. But he's at the age now he can move on to be a trainer, and that's what I try to tell people, Jerry, is have some people that come in that are good employees that you can potentially, as they age out of the actual profession, they can become trainers. Because if you have the trainers, you could get a little more desperate.
Yeah. So again, you're hearing us say this. I'm going to say it again. Always be recruiting. Don't wait till you're in desperate need. Put your marketing plan together. Hire for attitude. Hire people that have the right culture. Be prepared to train for skill. Your best people are going to be coachable. They're going to be dependable. They're going to be safety minded and willing to learn. And a lot of times people come in and maybe they're not they're not abiding by the rules. Let's take the guy that can't come to work on time. You've got to coach this guy. You got to nip these problems in the bud with every new person that comes in the door. You got to be able to do this. Keep your application process simple. Conduct a short phone interview. Use the DISC process. And if you want to go into that a little bit, Cheryl, when I call on you in a minute, you can go into what that does. But this gives you behavioral interview questions. Schedule ride-alongs. And Cheryl and I were talking about this the other day. And she said people love this because it gives them an idea of what the job is going to entail, and they really like it from that point. So, Cheryl, your turn again. Your thoughts on all this?
Yeah, and I believe in all that. I would not suggest something if I didn't think it would work. But the DISC, yes, it is a definite tool. It's a personality assessment. It gives you an idea of whether this person, how he learns, and I'm using he as an overall, he or she, how they learn and how they understand, and it lets you know, are they hands-on, how do they learn, what kind of language are they accustomed to, are they soft spoken or whatever. So you begin to see, if you work with them long enough, you can pick out exactly what seat you want that person to be in. A lot of times we're hiring for a seat, let's just put it that way. But when you get this guy online, when I'm looking at him, I can almost tell you he won't fit in that position, but he would be super in this other position. So with that, you've got an idea. Okay, maybe I can put him here, but I can work him into what he's the best at. But it doesn't have to be the DISC. Any of the personality assessments are great, because that gives you some background into what the person is exactly like, not what they're trying to make you believe.
Yeah. And here's the next one. And when you find someone, move on them. People actually lose great employees because they don't give them an offer. They think they'll wait. Well, here's the whole thing. You got somebody looking for employment, they're going to take a job. And Cheryl, Do you go through this where somebody decides, hey, I want to hire that guy you talked to 3 weeks ago or that lady you talked about, we interviewed a month ago? How often do you see people that decide to move and then the candidate has disappeared from sight?
To be honest, there's only been one that didn't move. And the thing is, I even have some people that want to put their name into a folder and check with them in 6 months to a year. They're not going to be out there unless they burn in another job. But as a rule, you have about 48 hours, and that's about the minimum you're going to be, because if they're hiring for a job, you are not the only company they have applied to. And someone else might be faster than you are.
So, Cheryl, let me ask you this. What kind of questions can a person ask an applicant that will reveal their character? What kind of questions are those? What's some of the examples?
Actually, the ones that interest me the most that I use is I have a question and I let them know I'm not diving into their childhood, but the answer can go there. I always ask them, what have you done in the past that was something very hard and it was successful, and how did you make it successful? Then the next one is, tell me about a time you failed. What did you fail at and what did you learn? You can learn so much from those kind of questions. I can ask people all day, do you have a driver's license? Do you have this? Do you have that? But till you get them into a conversation, and one that's really a lot of fun sometimes, I'll actually ask them, if you could go anywhere in the world, 2 questions, and expenses paid, where would you go and who would you take with you? People have never been asked what they really thought. And at that point, they just start talking and they tell you about what their dreams are and what they're doing. You can learn so much from a person just by shutting up and letting them talk.
Yeah. So you ask for resumes, you get a resume, or they fill an application. That's going to tell you where they worked. It's not going to tell you anything about them. This is where the questions come in. This is going to reveal who they are. When you start asking people about the mistakes that they've made, you're going to learn a lot about those people. When you ask them how they've helped other people in the company, that's going to reveal a lot about that person. When you ask them how they would deal with a difficult customer or situation, that's going to tell you a whole lot about that person. But again, it goes down to, what are you doing every single day to recruit people to coming to work for you, to be a part of your team? It goes back to that whole story. What are you doing? Why should I work for you? And recruiting. Your website and your social media, they should be recruiting every single day. You got to be talking about employee success stories, training. What's your community involvement? What kind of company events do you have? Showing before and after projects, what do you do? And what's my opportunity if I do come to work for you? You've got to put this out there where people can see it. You got to promote yourself. Let's face it, McDonald's, everybody knows what McDonald's sells, but McDonald's is marketing all the time. You watch a NASCAR race on Sunday, you're going to see a McDonald's car probably going around that track. You've got to get out there. You look at it. Look at the money that Nike has paid Michael Jordan over the years to be able to use his name. So get the word out there, okay? Cheryl, your turn again.
I have one more question. Everyone should ask everyone they interview, and it should be early in the interview, not right at the beginning, but early. Ask them honestly, what are you looking for in a company? We're looking for what we want. What are you looking for? And it's amazing what these people will tell you. The thing is, if they're not looking for things you can provide, then don't hire them because they won't last. But yeah, I mean, I think everybody just needs to sit back and imagine that they were going in to be recruited into their team, and what would they like to know? And also bring your employees and talk to them that you have now and ask them what are some of the most important things they found out about your company. Work that into your interview, asking questions about it, because the employees you have can give you more information than you can ever imagine. And they also are the people that are setting your culture.
That's it. So here's the whole thing. Here's a couple questions, just a few short questions. One of them I've already asked. Excuse me. Would you work for you? Would you work for you? Next one is, do you have a mission that people want to join? And do you have a culture that people won't be a part of? And this is a real hard one. Are you the type of leader that people want to follow? You have answered yes to all of those, recruiting becomes dramatically easier. You got to remember, people don't join companies. They join missions, they join cultures, they join leaders. Cheryl, what will be your closing words on today's episode?
Closing in this, be the kind of leader that is you want the people that you're going to hire to be. Because what I'm looking at when I'm hiring someone is, does this guy have the potential one day to lead this company? Because if you hire for leaders, then they'll work great as technicians.
That's it. So, hey, I want to thank you for joining us today on this episode of the CBC Home Service Success Network. Hey, give us a like if you would. Feel free to share it out. We'd love to get our words in front of more people. You know, here's the whole thing. If you need help building better systems, recruiting stronger people, improving leadership, and increasing profitability, visit us at cbcsuccessgroup.com. Send us an email. We'd love to have a conversation with you. You see mine and Cheryl's email addresses up on the screen right now. Reach out to us. So for Cheryl Eisenhower and myself, Jerry Eisenhower, we appreciate you being here today. And until next week, keep building your business, keep serving your customers, and keep building a winning team. And with that, we'll see you next week on the next episode of the CBC Home Service Success Network. Have a fantastic week ahead and a weekend coming up. Thanks for joining us. Talk to you next time.